Boomerang is an American digital cable and satellite television channel that is owned by the Turner Broadcasting System subsidiary of Time Warner. Originating as a spin-off of Cartoon Network, Boomerang specializes in a blend of classic and contemporary animated programming from Time Warner's extensive archives with a family-friendly approach, including Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, and Scooby-Doo, along with repeats of shows still in production on Cartoon Network like Sonic Boom and Teen Titans Go. As of February 2015, approximately 43.6 million households receive the channel. History: much of the programming that made up the core of Boomerang's lineup was originally part of TBS's Disaster Area, a block of children's programming that aired on that network from 1997 to 1999. Boomerang had originated a programming block airing on Cartoon Network that debuted on December 8, 1992. It was aimed towards the generation of baby boomers, and was similar to the Walt Disney Nostalgia block that would debut 5 years later on the Disney Channel. It originally aired for 4 hours every weekend, but the block's start time had changed frequently. The Saturday block moved to Saturday afternoons, then back to the early morning, and the Sunday block moved to Sunday evenings. Eventually, Boomerang was shortened by an hour, reducing it from 4 hours to 3 each weekend. Turner Broadcasting System eventually converted Boomerang into a standalone cable channel that debuted on April 1, 2000. The Cartoon Network programming block was reformatted to air cartoons in production during a certain year. The block was often simulcast with the Boomerang channel on Saturday mornings until 2004. The Boomerang channel initially carried a looping programming format that rotated each week. Once Boomerang launched as its own channel, on-air promotions for the channel aired at the end of every program within the Cartoon Network block, in an attempt to increase visibility for Boomerang. In October 2004, all of the older programming on Cartoon Network, including Looney Tunes, Baby Looney Tunes, and shows from Hanna-Barbera migrated to Boomerang. On October 2 and 3, 2004, nearly 4 months after the relaunch of Cartoon Network, the Boomerang programming block was replaced with the then-debuting Adult Swim. Boomerang consisted with an everyday lineup of older reruns of classic anthology series such as The Popeye Show, Tom and Jerry, The Bob Clampett Show, Toonheads and programs formerly seen on Boomerang such as Super Globetrotters. Looney Tunes aired on Cartoon Network for the last time officially on those dates, and would not return to that network until March 14, 2011, when Cartoon Network added 2-hour-long blocks of Looney Tunes shorts in a run-up to the debut of the Looney Tunes show. Boomerang originated as a commercial-free channel, being financed solely by subscription fees and product tie-ins. In order to fill out a half-hour block, breaks between programs featured promotions for Cartoon Network and/or Boomerang programming, occasional advertising for DVD products from Warner Home Video, various animated shorts, and eventually public service announcements for Cartoon Network's Stop Bullying, Speak Up initiative. Advertising time for cable and satellite providers is leased to some providers such as Dish Network, through insertion by those providers. During its looping format, which lasted through December 26, 2004, its broadcast day began at 8 a.m., with programming being repeated 3 times a day in 8-hour blocks. Monday through Thursdays featured a variety of half-hour and hour-long animated series. Monthly feature cartoons were shown all day on Fridays, in which one cartoon was featured for each Friday of a given month for 24 consecutive hours. On January 1, 2005, this block became known as Monthly Character of the Month, and began to air on weekends from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. On Saturdays, cartoons from a select calendar year were broadcast. Boomerang's promotional slogan, "It's all coming back to you," used on the channel itself, was one of nostalgia that accurately reflected its programming of the time. Actor and television host John O'Whirley has served as continuity announcer for most of the channel's promotions. In September 2008, Cartoon Network began to feature increased promotion for Boomerang, including 2 promos that aired on January 1, 2009. Between intermissions, Boomerang would air a bumper, followed by 2 advertisements. For many years, Boomerang generally did not show live-action series, with the exception of the Banana Splits, which had a semi-regular place on the channel's schedule through approximately 2011, and the Cartoon Network game show Hole in the Wall, which aired intermittently from 2010 to 2011. However, in October 2011, the channel acquired the cable rights to the 1960s live-action series The Munsters and The Addams Family and airing the two sitcoms in prime time, before being removed from the schedule after Halloween. Because most of the channel's content consisted of archived television programs produced before the advent of high-definition television, Boomerang does not currently maintain a high-definition simulcast feed. On February 4, 2014, as part of the company's 2014 upfronts, Turner Broadcasting announced that Boomerang would become advertising-supported, and seek additional international distribution. On January 19, 2015, the US version of Boomerang was relaunched as part of a global rebranding effort and will offer original programming for the first time. The relaunched channel will continue to emphasize its archival programming but with a greatly increased emphasis on the archive's most popular brands and an explicitly family-friendly approach, in the hopes that Boomerang can become a second flagship on par with the main Cartoon Network channel. Cable and satellite availability. Boomerang is carried on most cable and telco providers, along with both satellite services. Tiering of the channel varies by service, with some services offering it as a basic service or as a higher tier offering. A few providers do not carry the linear channel, instead only offering the network's video-on-demand service bundled with Cartoon Network. The network is offered exclusively in standard definition, with no current plans for a high-definition simulcast. Programming. Historically, Boomerang avoided overt channel drift and, despite adding newer content to its library, continued to air programming from the breadth of its archives. As of spring 2014, however, most of its archival programming has been relegated to graveyard slots while the daytime schedule has increasingly been dominated by programming from the 1990s and later. Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, Scooby-Doo, and The Garfield Show have permanent places on the schedule as of August 2015. A few shows, such as The Flintstones, Poker Copyright Mon, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Chowder, and The Smurfs are usually on the schedule but are periodically taken off the schedule for brief periods, or have their slots on the schedule shuffled around. Most other programs aired by Boomerang stay on the schedule for several weeks, then are rotated out and replaced by other programs. Not all of the Time Warner animation library is currently available to Boomerang. A portion of the library that includes the WB-produced animated series from the 1990s that were produced in collaboration with Steven Spielberg, and most properties involving Batman and Superman, is put out for license to other networks. Those properties most recently aired on the Hub network from late 2012 until that network's demise in October 2014. Boomerang also occasionally licenses programming from other distributors, such as The Rocky and Bullwinkle Show, which rejoined the lineup for a short run in August and September 2013. The Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies cartoon shorts, which were dropped by Boomerang since 2007, returned to the schedule on October 5, 2013. Although Boomerang's programming philosophy was originally intended to showcase classic cartoons, it started to add some newer shows in recent years. On January 1, 2012, the channel began airing episodes of Puppy in My Pocket, Adventures in Pocketville, which ended in February 2013. On November 17 and 24, 2012, Boomerang aired new episodes of Ben 10, Omniverse, before their telecast on sister channel Cartoon Network. Boomerang reintroduced the Wedgies series of animated shorts in 2013. Boomerang also began airing Teen Titans Go! And The Amazing World of Gumball on December 1, 2014, alongside their airings on Cartoon Network. Nunchucks was picked up by Boomerang for first-run broadcast in the United States on January 10, 2015, after initially having been announced for Cartoon Network. On June 28, 2015, it was announced that Boomerang would receive original programs such as Wobbit, Be Cool, Scooby-Doo, and an animated adaptation of Bunicula. On October 5, 2015, Boomerang will debut new episodes from 6 new series, including Wobbit, Be Cool, Scooby-Doo, The Garfield Show, Shaun the Sheep, Sonic Boom, and DreamWorks Dragons. Programming blocks equals. Because of Boomerang's fluid schedule, programming blocks will air for a few months, then be removed from the schedule, only to be added again a few months later. Current Boomerang Theatre Boomerang's movie showcase block, weeknights at 8:30, Boomerang's primetime premieres block airs new episodes of Be Cool, Scooby-Doo, The Garfield Show, Shaun the Sheep, and more. Seasonal programming blocks, the Boomerang Christmas Party This block, which airs each December, features a collection of Hanna-Barbera Christmas specials. Bugs to Weekend Boomerang's first new programming block after the international rebrand. Showcases various Looney Tunes shorts and every episode from the Looney Tunes show during the weekend of Easter. Martin Luther King, Jr. Day in observance of MLK Day, Boomerang aired various episodes from The Garfield Show. Memorial Day in observance of Memorial Day, Boomerang aired marathons of various Tom and Jerry installments, including the original theatrical shorts, The Tom and Jerry Show, and Tom and Jerry Tales. MLB All-Star Grand Slam a weekend cross-promotion event to coincide with the MLB All-Star Game. This block broadcasts several installments of different Scooby-Doo, Looney Tunes, and Tom and Jerry series. Former blocks. Boomeraction one of the first blocks to air on Boomerang, its programming focused on action-adventure shows including Thunder the Barbarian, Teen Titans, Samurai Jack, SWAT Kats, The Radical Squadron, The Pirates of Dark Water, Johnny Quest, The Secret Saturdays, Ben 10 and Ben 10, Omniverse. It was also one of the only Boomerang blocks to air across international feeds, including the United Kingdom, Latin America, and Australia versions of the network. The block was removed by June 2, 2014, as all programming from the block left the schedule. Boomerandom this block aired each weekend from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time from 2008 to 2010, and featured 2 hours of episodes of a single program. The selected programs were picked by the Boomerandom drawing machine. Boomerang Zoo this 1-hour block featured pre-1970 Hanna-Barbera Warner Brothers television shorts, culled mainly from the Ha! Be Funny Animal series. It was the only block to air on both the American and European versions of the channel after the 2004 rebranding of Boomerang Europe. Boomerang this block, which aired in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the premiere of The Flintstones in 2010, consisted of a marathon of the classic animated series. Boomerang this weekend mini-marathon of shows focuses on a particular character that changes every month, similar to the former Super Chunk block on sister network Cartoon Network. Boomerang concluded on July 2013. Captain Planet in observance of Earth Day, Boomerang airs a marathon of the animated series. Mother's Day a recent marathon of events by Boomerang. On the holiday, the channel airs cartoons featuring mothers, such as Jane Jetson-focused episodes of The Jetsons, and Wilma Flintstone-focused episodes of The Flintstones. Pet of the Week this block showcases 2 hours of a single animated program, where the title character is an animal. Such as, Courage the Cowardly Dog, The Garfield Show, and What's New, Scooby-Doo. Currently, the block has been reduced to 1 hour of a single program. Scooberang this continuous block featured every episode of each Scooby-Doo series, beginning with Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? It also aired some feature-length Scooby-Doo films, including Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers and Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Scooberang no longer airs on Boomerang. However, various series iterations of the Scooby-Doo franchise air on the channel several times daily. Those Meddling Kids. This 90-minute block featured series produced by Hanna-Barbera and or Ruby Spears, all of which follow the formula of a group of mystery-solving teenagers or young adults. Halloween block this block aired during the month of October, and included Halloween-themed programs such as Scooby-Doo, Casper, The Addams Family, Beetlejuice, The Funky Phantom, Goober and the Ghost Chasers and the Munsters. This is notably the only time that Boomerang regularly aired any live-action programming, particularly as The Addams Family and The Munsters have aired on the channel each October since 2011. The Halloween programming replaced the annual Scooby-Doo block in 2011 and aired again in 2012 and 2013. It was not brought back in 2014 when the channel began to change focus. Other services Boomerang On Demand Boomerang On Demand is the channel's video-on-demand service, offering select episodes of the channel's archived programming, along with select archived Cartoon Network original programs. Launched in 2005, it is available on select digital cable, satellite and IPTV providers. In April 2013, Boomerang On Demand began to separate program content by theme. International Boomerang, originally established as a cable channel in the United States, has expanded worldwide. Each of these networks will be aligned globally in 2015 under one unified branding to reflect a family co-viewing network. Australia An Australian version of Boomerang was launched in March 2004 as part of the launch of Foxtel's digital service, with a lineup very similar to that of the UK version. It began as a 4-hour block of programs in 2001, when the Australian version of Cartoon Network began broadcasting on a 24-hour schedule. It previously used the logo and break format of the flagship American service. However, in November 2007, the channel revamped both its logo and promotions as well as its website, boomerang.co.com. However, it uses the same bumpers for as the US channel. On December 1, 2012, the channel introduced a new on-air look with the same logo and appearance as the European channels. On November 3, 2014, the channel changed its logo to the logo seen in Latin America. Europe, Middle East and Africa and Central and Eastern Europe Boomerang Europe, Middle East and Africa launched on June 5, 2005, originally broadcasting in Eastern Europe, Poland and Hungary. It features mainly former Cartoon Network and Hanna-Barbera programs. In October 2010, the channel started to broadcast select shows in Romanian. On October 12, 2011, the Central and Eastern Europe feed was separated from Europe, Middle East and Africa. As a result, the former maintains its own schedule and promos in Hungarian and Romanian language as well as the preschool targeted block Cartoonito, which was added to both feeds at the same time. In February 2012, the channel began accepting commercial advertising outside of Poland, whose feed also accepts traditional advertising. From March 2012, Boomerang got a new look. In July 2013, the channel started to air select shows in Russian, in preparation for a possible launch of a separate feed for Russia. In October 2013, a Russian feed was also added to the channel, thus making it to be broadcast now in 4 languages. In January 2014, the Cartoonito brand name was gone from the both CE and EMEA channels, thus making those shows identifiable as Boomerang shows, and the Boomerang Next bumpers were rebranded. Starting from July 2014, Russia banned the ads from the network, making the channel broadcasting no ads. The channel adopted a new global look on February 2, 2015. France The network rebranded on January 3, 2015. Germany Boomerang launched in Germany in June 2006. It is available on Kabel Deutschland, Kabel BW and Unity Media. The network adopted the new branding on February 16, 2015. Italy The channel adopted a new look on February 2, 2015. Latin America and Brazil Boomerang Latin America started July 2, 2001 with a schedule comprising classic animated series. This lasted from 2001 to 2006. However, on April 3, 2006, the channel was relaunched as a channel for general audience and mixed cartoons with live-action series and movies on its programming. In October 2008, the animated series broadcast on the channel were removed from the schedule, changing the main focus of the channel to a teen-oriented programming, which consisted in live-action shows, movies and music video clips. Nevertheless, on April 1, 2014, Boomerang suddenly changed again its teen-oriented programming to a cartoon-oriented one with new animated series and former cartoons from Cartoon Network, with live action after midnight. On September 28, 2014, it got a new image from the international rebranding of the channel, and also, it was the first Boomerang network in the world that adopted the new look. Netherlands and Flanders . It launched in the Netherlands on October 10, 2005. At first in English with Dutch subtitles. Since 2014 the channel is bilingual with optional Dutch or English audio. A Dutch feed and a new logo launched on February 2, 2015. Others . Since 2005, Boomerang is also available via digital cable and satellite in the Netherlands and Belgium. In the Middle East, North Africa and the Levant territories, it broadcasts via satellite on the OSN. In sub-Saharan Africa, Boomerang is available on MultiChoice's DStv. The channel rebranded on January 14, 2015. Portugal . Boomerang is a Portuguese digital cable and satellite television channel launched on April 21, 2015 and owned by Turner Broadcasting System Europe. Currently, is only available in Angola and Mozambique and is expected to launch in Portugal soon. Scandinavia . In late 2005, Turner Broadcasting announced its intention to launch several new channels in the Nordic region. One of the planned new channels was Boomerang, for which Turner applied for a broadcast license to operate on Swedish digital terrestrial television in the fall of 2005. Southeast Asia . The Southeast Asian version of Boomerang was launched on September 1, 2005. It began as a 90-minute block of programs in 2001, when the Asian version of Cartoon Network began broadcasting on a 24-hour schedule. It previously used the American logo and style of commercial breaks. It previously used the logo and break format of the flagship American service. However, in November 2007, the channel revamped both its logo and promotions. In December 2012, the channel was replaced by Toonami. Boomerang, however, returned to Asia on January 1, 2015, replacing Cartoonito. This channel is available in Hong Kong, the selected ASEAN member neighbor countries and Sri Lanka. The 24-hour channel in India was only available on Dish TV exclusively along with Turner Classic Movies until March 2, 2009. It is currently only available on digital cable from the Hinduja Group in Mumbai and the National Capital Region. In Pakistan, it ran as a 2-hour block but was replaced with Pogo due to poor ratings. In Indonesia, it is available on Indovision, or a TV and Telkom Vision. Spain . Boomerang launched a Spanish version of the channel in 2004. It was available on the Digital Plus digital platform and on the ANA cable platform. It was introduced as a part of Cartoon Network's schedule on weekend afternoons. The channel's programming strongly resembled that of the UK version. It relied heavily on older Warner Brothers, MGM, and Hanna-Barbera cartoons, but it also included fairly recent programs featuring older characters, like Baby Looney Tunes and Duck Dodgers. It also featured other classic cartoons, like the Japanese Heidi and the Spanish La Vuelta al Mundo de Willy Fogg. On September 1, 2011, it was replaced by Cartoonito, which itself ceased operations on June 30, 2013, along with the Spanish version of Cartoon Network. Thailand . The Thailand version of Boomerang was launched on August 14, 2013. United Kingdom and Ireland . Boomerang launched in the Republic of Ireland and the United Kingdom on May 27, 2000. It broadcasts 24 hours a day on Sky, Virgin Media, Talk TV and Chorus Digital. This version of the channel also features other animated series such as Mr. Bean and Gadget Boy. In late July 2007, Boomerang UK started carrying live-action programs, including those exclusive to the channel such as My Spy Family. The network rebranded on February 16, 2015. References. See also: External links, Official standalone website, Boomerang Latin America, Boomerang Asia, Boomerang Australia, Boomerang United Kingdom, Boomerang Italy, Boomerang France, Boomerang Germany, Boomerang Poland, Boomerang Romania, Boomerang Hungary, Boomerang Russia, Boomerang Netherlands, Boomerang Africa, Boomerang Portugal, Boomerang Scandinavia, Boomerang Denmark, Boomerang Norway, Boomerang Sweden.